Awesome. So it's really great to know who you are this time. Uh,
Yeah.
for everyone, this is Derek Day. He's pretty cool. We met by accident a little while ago when
Uh,
our Zoom codes got mixed up.
yeah. Uh,
So it's nice to know who you are this time. Tell me a little bit about yourself for everyone who, like me, did not know who you are.
yeah. So my name is Derek Day. I like to invade random Zoom meetings and just to pretend like I'm a part of it. No, I'm just kidding. Um, oh man, one day we'll explain that story, but it was just a funny mix-up. Um, but no, I'm Derek. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I was born and raised here, and I've been playing music since I was like a little kid, like 5 or 6 or something, just like, guitar, singing, all sorts of things, and had a million bands. But now after playing on the street and stuff and learning how to learn an instrument and be a musician, I'm in this band called Classless Act, and we play all over LA, and yeah, we play rock and roll, and it's as simple as that.
Incredible. So you said you've been playing music for a really long time. Was this always the goal? Did you always want to be a musician from day one?
It seemed like it, yeah. I mean, I've toyed with other ideas, like maybe some form of uh I liked the idea of like culinary type arts, and or even like psychology was a thing, and I wanted to get into it. I didn't even know for what in that thing, what things to do in that field, but really music was just always there, like since I was a baby. So I was just like, I just want to play music. I just want to make weird sounds and stuff.
So your singing style, I would almost describe as maybe a combination of like any of AC/DC's singers and Axl Rose. Is that like how you've always sang, or is that a type of style, I guess, that you sing in with this band?
Yeah, that is like that's like how I really mainly sang my whole life. I've also loved, like, those are great observations, as well as like Robert Plant and stuff like that, like the higher end distorted singing. But then as I grew older, I really got into like Tom Waits and David Bowie, where they get like down in the lower register, and I'm finding that kind of timbre. Um, and um, and so yeah, so you'll be hearing some other stuff where I get to dive into that sort of thing, and yeah, you know.
Cool. What's if you know, what is your vocal range, if you don't mind saying?
I don't know what the technical term for it is. Like, I would maybe alto, high alto, or mezzo soprano, like really low soprano, maybe. But yeah, like I don't know how many octaves. I know I could, because I don't know what the rule is, because I know I could go head voice. I could go like, from what I'm talking now, I could go at least 3 octaves above that, and I already have a pretty high voice. So with a head voice, but maybe just 2 octaves with chest voice. I don't know. Like I could hit a high F sharp, if that means anything. High F sharp over middle C, maybe.
So has being really like outgoing and in front of people and on stage, has that always come naturally to you, or did you have to learn it?
I think, ooh, that's a good question. It's always been, you know what? There's always been a little seed in there, always since I was a baby, because my mom, she's from Honduras, and she's just like, women from like Latin America, they're just like so like happy and full of life, and they're just like, woo, and they're like always the life of the party. So it's always been in there, but I've never been a performer. But once I started playing on the street, I've always had this inkling, I just want to play on the street and like play for people. That helped me. It justified, I felt like it made me feel like it's okay to be a little crazy and funny to a bunch of people. So like, the more I did that, I was like, oh, okay, fine. It's excusable. I'm just going to be like, whatever. So yeah, at a very young age, to say the least, around 10, 11 years old.
Okay, well, it's obviously infectious, so keep it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking a little bit about Classless Act, then I looked you up. Obviously, I had to figure out who you were.
Mhm.
So I read all these kind of crazy articles, and they all said kind of different things. One of them was that you guys all met on like social media, like TikTok and stuff.
Yeah, or on Instagram rather.
Yeah.
We really did. It was it sounds like whack, but it's not because it's totally cool. Like the way we met on Instagram was like, hey, we're trying to start a band. Someone like hit up each member, like, we need a guitar player, we need a bassist, we need this. And so it was really just like friendly and like we want to try out. And then we met and we're just like, I love you. I think you're great. I think you're a really great person. And we laughed, we shared times, went to parties and hung out like a real band. So the social media aspect was just the very first touch before like our awesome friendship, began.
Awesome. So how long, or were you guys all like from the same area? Were you able to meet up like right away, or did it take some time to get together?
We're kind of like pretty far away.
Mhm.
Like the bass player just so happened to be in LA, but he's from Argentina. So he was just so happened to be there just for like a few months on a different tour. Um, and then like he like left his band. He's like, I love this band. I want to be in this band. And like and then he worked out staying here. One of our guitar players is from like San Diego, and like he like I think he was starting to live. He was like going to college in USC, so he was just so happened to be like there at the right time. Like, all right, I'll be in the band. And our drummer's from Torrance, which isn't far from where we are, but it's a drive from like where we rehearsed. So like, and he still is far, so he's making the drive every day. And
Oh
then the
man.
guitar player is from Texas, so he's like figuring out how like to live here now. And I'm in LA, so I'm like, come to me.
I love it. The friend magnet, just cast them out and pull them all in.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Amazing. Um, so the other strange thing that I found was this kind of discrepancy on when you actually started. Some said it was 2016, some said it was 2019. So like most articles I found said 2016, everything was all about 2016. And then your like official website and everything says 2019.
Yeah, I would say that's funny because like 2016, we really did, like a lot of us who are in the band now, or some of us, well, so the original members with some other members like met around 2016, 17, and we're like throwing out different bassists and doing different things, and it's like a lot of the songs we were writing wasn't like what we wanted to do. But then I would say like, yeah, 2019 is when we're like, oh wait, this is it. Like we found the perfect lineup and we like completed the puzzle and we started writing music we really loved. And we're like, okay, now we are a classless act. This is how we'll do it. And bam. And we did.
Incredible. So two questions about that. One, did the name, was it just, yeah, this is the name from the start once you figured it out? Like, no, like, a lot of bands, when they go through that, they'll reinvent themselves, give themselves a new name. So how come you stuck with Classless Act?
It's weird. Like we did try to think of many different names, just it's like since day one. I don't know. Even after we were like classless act, we were like, what else is there though? But we just couldn't like beat it. Something about classless act is just charming, like classlessly charming. I don't know how to say it, but it really describes like kind of how we act and what we want to say. So yeah, we tried. Trust me, we tried, but it didn't work out. Or it did work out rather, because now we're like, yeah, hell yeah, we're classless act. And we just needed this affirmation to like, let's just be classless.
I love it. And in a weird way, I love to go like way too deep into stuff sometimes, but I like
Ooh.
how it kind of ties into modern society a little bit. Like classy had this really heavy implication to it, that you had to act a certain way, you had to dress a certain way, blah, blah, blah. You had to behave a certain way. You can't say this, someone might get offended, and this and that. And that was so much of what rock and roll was, like setting to break free from. So that's it. To me, it feels like I'm surprised some band in like the 70s, 80s, 90s didn't already take this name. But
Yeah.
I love how modern it is at the same time, that it's really relevant because more and more people are feeling that freedom to like be who they want to be and not be restrained by their own insecurities or the oppression of society or the patriarchy or whatever. Like, I love it. It's perfect.
Oh, fantastic. You're speaking to my soul right now. That's exactly, yes, exactly. We just want people to be themselves and don't be so scared to be like, whatever you want to be,
Incredible. So you guys have also been signed to Better Noise Music, which is a pretty big deal. I guess they were like Billboard's #1 record label of last year or something like that. So how'd you guys get in
Yeah.
with them?
That's a good question. I have to go back. You know what? That's also something that happened like in 2019 too. So I feel like that's when we were like, okay, we're established.
Ooh,
Uh,
nice.
so I don't know. Our manager had a connection with like the label head and just brought us in. And that Alan Kovac, he's hard to win over. I mean, he knows a good band and a bad band. And we needed work back then, I'm not gonna lie. So I think Alan Kovac, we went through a lot of auditioning. What's the word? We tried out for many different labels, like Big Machine and all sorts of things. And we had like little showcases and they're just like, nah, Pat, we just kept getting passed. And then, but our manager brought us to Kovac and he was nice enough to be like, all right, I'll give you guys a chance. And so he just took a chance on us, really. And really, we weren't that great back then. So, but now we're like tight. We like just so happen to be like, all right, you know what? He believes in us. Let's practice 4 more times a week and let's write better music and let's do this. And I think it's working out well now.
Amazing. Well, Better Noise is also known for being a bit of a multimedia, I don't want to say label, but maybe that's still what it is. They do some movies and I think some literature and stuff like that as well, if I understand correctly. Curious if, everything goes well with your releases and things like that. Is that something you'd also be interested in, is like working on these other projects with the label?
I'd love to. I'm sure everyone in the band would, but me especially, like, I love acting. I love like anything. I love to like anything dramatic and whatever, like, or even just being a lighting guy. I don't know, whatever it takes. I just, it all goes back into music. So just that experience would be amazing. Yeah. I would love to be a part of movies too. I've done a bit of acting in high school and in college and yeah, I've done many plays. So
Safe to assume you guys are working on an album right now?
I wonder if I could say this. I'm gonna say it anyway. We finished it. We like finished our entire album. It's ready, it's mastered, and it's like I think it's 10. We recorded way more than 10 songs and mastered more, but like it's gonna be like 10 maybe. But yeah, like we finished it. So we have enough material already because we've been writing so hard for this one album. We have like 30 songs left over. So we have the next couple albums. So, but we're gonna keep writing, and yeah, so we're still to this day just like writing new stuff.
I love it. It's the feeling when you're just getting it all out and it's just coming out. It's the best. So
Oh
amazing.
man, you're telling me, because this has been in the works for so long. Like, I feel like we started writing this album in 2016 and now it's 2021. Oh,
It's more about your music then. Do you guys all write together? Do you start stuff on your own, bring it in? Do you have one maestro mastermind? How do you guys do it?
yeah. That's a great question, because a lot of people do have like that one guy or that one person, whatever. But as you know, there's no real super process, like set process. It's always different. And I'm actually really happy to say that this band, everyone can write a song really well, like individually. And So everyone is like their own mastermind. And so sometimes like I would bring in a song all finished, or someone, or Franco, the bass player, would bring in a song all finished, or Dane, the guitar player, would bring in all, or we would just sit in a room together, just us, or we would go like to a like an outside writer, someone who's established, and like we wrote with Keith Nelson from Buck Cherry. We wrote a few of the songs on this album with him, and some other pretty big names too that are also, that's going to be on the album. So yeah, we just do any which way we can, and sometimes just 2 people or 3 people. As Keith would say, we don't like to have too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, too many minds working on one song kind of means it's gonna just be conflict, I think. So but yeah, no, we just really kind of any way we can. I don't know, but usually it's been this whole album has been very collaborative, I could say.
Great to have one person take the lead of something, you know, write the main riffs, write the main story, and then have everyone add their flavor to it.
Yeah, that way it's so diverse. That way it's like different than the next track, and then it's gonna
Exactly.
be different. Yeah, it keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
It really does. It took me a long time. I'm the lead singer, and I play guitar, and I play a bunch of instruments as well. So I get cocky. I'm like, I could write a whole album myself. But then I hear it back, and I'm like, this sounds I'm like kind of bored, you know? Like, this isn't that great, actually. You know, so I'm really happy to have my homies, my people, to be like, no, let's tweak this, let's do that. And I'm like, dope, good.
It's good to have other people's insights.
Yeah, absolutely. Just some paprika, a little bit of cayenne pepper, you know? Every couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So moving from the music a little bit then to the lyrics, what is, well, let's put it this way, like, what do you guys like to write about? And first of all, I guess, do you write the only lyrics, or do the other guys write lyrics as well?
I write a lot of the lyrics just for now. But the other guys write lyrics too. Like on this album, Dane writes, it's weird. I wish I could, oh man, that's a good question. Dang it. Why are you a good journalist? Okay. Because like we do all write lyrics, and like Franco writes these the bass player Franco writes really honest, really almost brutally honest, like, and straightforward sometimes, but also very poetic lyrics. Dane writes very like what does Dane do? It's very like catchy lyrics, things that really roll off the tongue really well and like make you remember them really well. And I write stuff that's more like very like well, I would like to say I write more with color. Like I just like to try to paint pictures, but it's very like it makes sense if you really read into it, but it's kind of at first glance it's kind of like it doesn't really make much sense. So we all kind of write like different kinds of lyrics and infused together it's like this weird soup. But for now, I don't know, like it's I'm trying to think of the kind of songs we have, but we like the truth is that this album that we will eventually release within the year, it has songs like Give It To Me, like the single, but it also has songs that like there's ballads on there, and there's like all sorts of different concepts, really different sides of us. So we're not just like this rock and roll band, actually. We're kind of other stuff as well that you'll all see soon enough.
All right, so you said ballads. Finland's a pretty heavy metal country. We're not super on board with ballads a lot of the time. So what kind of ballads are we talking here? Are we talking like Man-O-War cheesy ballads? Are we talking like soulful blues ballads? Like, what do you got in store for us?
Maybe a little bit more soulful blues, because it still rocks. It's gonna have like a huge guitar solo in there, and it's gonna have like a fat drum sound. It's gonna sound huge. But there is an acoustic guitar in there. I'm sorry.
Just like you alone on the stool on the stage in a spotlight, singing your heart out, single tear.
Yeah, one tear.
Yeah,
and it stays there for a chorus and a verse. and it goes down here for the bridge.
It bursts into starlight.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's mountains behind me, and I'm just on top of a mountain.
Incredible. I
But
can't
yeah,
wait
no,
to
but
see
also there's also like, yeah, but there's also some like faster. It's like we get fast, we get pretty heavy and hard, or we get fast but not heavy sounding, you know? Like some of that stuff isn't super distorted, but it's still like revved up. So I'm excited for you to hear that.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I have to think about what we have. Like, you know what? Basic overall, it's a rock and roll record, which I think is kind of nice. You know, a producer won't let you leave the studio unless it all sounds cohesive,
Mm.
or the label won't even try to release it unless it all sounds like one thing.
Mm.
I guess I'm thinking I'm talking a bit more of our unreleased stuff, that the stuff that's not going to be on this first record, because we have some weird progressive stuff. Like I've mentioned Bowie, it gets pretty Bowie, and it gets a little, and on my end, like a little Tom Waits ish. And Franco, the bass player, loves Queen, and it gets very Queen, and like heavily, and it gets like really, you know. But thank God for like our guitar players. They love pop music. They love, you know, they love what's going like Jet and like Green Day and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that too. And so I don't know, there's a lot of stuff. We really all come from different walks of life. So that's one thing I could say about this band is I'm really excited about each member coming from somewhere, because I don't think there's been a band like that in a while. Like most rock and roll bands, you love them because they all come from the same dumpster and they're just best friends from like an ugly place, but we're all like from different dumpsters, so smell really weird.
It's incredible. And even being that spread out, you probably just have slightly different kind of lifestyles that you grew up in. That's a lot of different perspective and opportunities to see things in different ways, and you know, not the same enabling bastards that you've been best friends with since you were 4, you know.
Yeah. Enabling bastards. Yeah.
I mean, those have their time and place for sure, but
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've been in those kind of bands too, where like I was in a band with my best friends, and it was great music, but inevitably you really end up breaking up very sourly. I feel like this band has longevity in it. I feel like we're all just like, you know what? I came from over here, so I'm just like trying to work with you on that, you know, kind of thing.
amazing. So then, if I'm teasing a little bit more out of this album, what kind of intro can we expect? Did you guys have like an intro track or a song that kind of works as an intro, or is it more of like a punch you in the face, let's get the party started kind of intro?
Intro, like what's the track one, you mean?
Yeah. How do you kick things off?
I don't even know if we have that yet. I don't even know if we know what that is yet, because we have like, I guess technically our intro track is our first single, which is out now. It's Give It To Me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll be track one, but it's the first track so that we've released. And we wanted to say, hey, this is us, because we want to let people know, like, we love, first and foremost, we love to have fun, and we love to be like pretty like we want to represent like a certain amount of power. We're like, hey, we're this, and we want whatever you have, give it to us, because we want to give it to you back. We want to give back our energy. We want to exchange energy. So, you know, that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of what we're thinking of.
And with a hint of innuendo, which is so rock and roll.
You can't be, yeah, you know, you need a little bit of that, you know. But, you know, funny enough, Give It To Me also describes a bit of like, it's not just, yeah, it's a hint of innuendo, and it's not really about like, you know, like any sort of sensual or anything. It's about a lot of things. It's just about wanting things in life, and if you want it, you take it. It's like it's a manifestation song, funny enough.
It's true. It's sort of positivity breeds positivity sort of thing. Give me your good energy, I'll give it back.
Yeah, and people won't buy it. They'll be like, no, that's not what you meant. But really, that's kind of what we were like writing about. We're like, no, like, yeah, we wanted we want to be like rock stars. We want to be musicians. Give it to me. I want this. We talk about not having, money or having a lot of money in it. Who's this?
Whiny Cat.
That's the next star of our music video. Oh,
Luffy,
yeah.
and he doesn't like being locked out of my office.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have a cat named Oasis. No relation to the band. We just think he is a very nice, like, presence. And
I love that.
yeah, and the cat in our video, his name is Muffin.
Have any fun stories from the music video shoot?
Oh man.
Any Spinal Tap moments yet?
Oh god, the band as a whole has had many Spinal Tap moments, just in general, like in rehearsals and everything. Positive moments, but while making the video, it was just like super easy, smooth. Like we just went in, we just had the best time ever. Everyone was just loose, having fun. We borrowed an amp head from Keith Nelson from Buck Cherry. I'm gonna say this. Keith is gonna kick my ass anyway. He's already. But we borrowed his amp head, and I wasn't here when it happened, but like a light fell on it, and it still works. But it's like a really expensive amplifier, Marshall head, and I was the one to return it to him, so I gave it back to him, and he looked at me like he was going to force choke me, like he was Darth Vader. I thought I was gonna die. So I'm sorry, Keith. I just want to say this publicly and nationally. I'm sorry about your amp head, man. Thank you for writing music with us and making us sound good. But other than that, everything was really smooth, and you just got to be there because it was just all experimentation. We're just all like, we did funny things where I spit water into the camera. We did things where I oh, well, the first take, actually, I immediately, like the very first shot we did was me like picking up my mic and hitting my mic, hit my forehead, and I immediately started bleeding. We had to like stop for a minute, and I had to like ice it down before it swelled. It was within the first 5 minutes of shooting. I was like, oh, great. No. So other than that, it was pretty Spinal Tappy.
Amazing. How has your production been with your album?
Pretty good. We're such a fresh band. We're so new. So we're actually quite happy to take a lot of advice, and we actually did have a bit of for the most part, we had a lot of freedom with writing the music and making sure like we said what we wanted to. And there are actually songs on the album that were really not even touched by like or oversaw. They were just like, oh, that's a good song, put it on the album. And they were just like, don't touch it, whatever. And then like, of course, you have a producer. We had Joe Ciccarelli and Bob Rock, both co-produced the album, and they both kind of like, they add their things to each song, like maybe take that out, tweak this, a little bit of that. Other than that, as far as style and production, we actually we get to a bit of a say, like not a final say, but we do get to say like, oh, we like that, or no, I don't like that. And then I have to thank our manager for that too, because he makes sure you like this, because this is going to be what you guys look like for the next forever, so yeah, no, it's been really like Better Noise, for such a functioning, like for being the top rock label of 2020. They are very cool with the band. I think maybe that's part of their success. They're just like, you guys, like, you handle it. We'll make sure it's not ridiculous, but like, if it's good, we'll sign off on it and we'll sell it. And I think that's kind of like the vibe. I think I'm getting that vibe from them. That's how it's been. And like I said at the beginning, Alan Kovac just took a risk on us, or he just gave us a chance. He's like, we were kind of like we weren't half a band. We're half a band metaphorically. When he met us, he was like, all right, I'll sign you guys. And he doesn't need to, but he's like, I think you'll do good. I think you got potential. And he just like took a huge risk. And as of now, it really feels like we're a band that's just ready to work. That's for sure. Just thanks for him taking that risk. We're like, all right, well, whatever you want, we're going to do it. We're going to kick ass for you because he did that. And I feel like doing that for your artists makes your artist work harder, to say the least.
Incredible. I love to hear that. It's great to hear that not all record labels are pure evil these days.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for a pretty long time now. I can start to wrap this up. Do you want a couple more questions?
Sure.
What would be some of your maybe like surprising influences, or like kind of like guilty pleasures, if you believe in that sort of thing?
Interesting. Guilty pleasures. Dang, that's a good question. I get frustrated because I don't really think about that. It's weird because as a songwriter, I try not to listen too much to music in general. Like I have my normal influences, but then I like push them away. But like everything else is not really guilty. Like I will promote NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears. Like I will wear that I'll tattoo it on my chest. I love that stuff.
I think in this day and age, it's actually more cool to like Backstreet Boys than it is to not like Backstreet Boys. Like all of the metalheads, like when Backstreet Boys come to Finland, all of the metalheads go there. Like, come to Finland and make fun of Backstreet Boys, I dare you. Like biker gangs beating you down.
I can just imagine like black metal dudes kicking your ass in the name of Backstreet Boys. It's just blowing my mind right now.
That's pretty much it for my questions. I've taken up an extremely large amount of your time. So thank you so much for doing this. And do you have any last words? Do you have a album name drop or anything that you're allowed to share to promote what we are expecting?
Not an album. I don't really know there's a schedule. I'm a lead singer, so I'm just like only about me. I don't
You're so pretty.
I know, yeah. As long as I look good, I'll let them handle whenever that is. But we do have a single coming out really soon, like within a month or so. And so there'll be a new single, and it'll just be something really fun and a little bit faster and a little bit harder, actually, believe it or not. So I hope you guys